I'm the creation of the Lord.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, my name is Muhammad Jelaani, also known as Abu Taymiyyah. I grew up in London. I was living initially, around, North London, Finsbury Park, Caledonian Road areas. This was, I think around maybe good 9-10 years ago, maybe a bit more than that. And subhanallah, I went through a lot, when I was living there. I actually got caught up being around the guys who used to hang around in Camden areas, Kentish Town areas, and many things took place, and I'm just here to kind of like share my experience. Okay, as a young kid, my parents, they always try to get me on deen as much as possible. They try to advise me, they try to connect me to the Quran, to madrasa, but because of the surroundings, the surroundings that I was in, it kind of always like pulled me away from what my parents wanted, the good that they always wanted for me. Those who I used to hang around with mostly like Somalis and Yemenis. Okay, it was more situated in Kentish Town, but we used to come to Camden a lot because the other elders were there. We was trying to at that time rep this postcode called NW1, and we used to fight against these African British guys, mixed race guys, and then every time something broke out, it would just get really, really messy. And some of the things that happened to me was, I've got a very big scar on the top of my head. I also have a scar over here in between my chest and my shoulder. I've got another scar here on my finger, all because of a postcode. All because of a postcode. I have all these scars on my head, on my body. Not mentioning also the other bruises and all the other injuries that I received over the years. And all of this, guys, was because of pathetic, meaningless stuff that we was fighting for, and it wasn't enough to get me off the streets. And something that happened that really made me think was when a friend of mine was shot. And this was in Camden. Okay, I wasn't there at the time, but it was something that really got to me, and it was the reason as to why I left the streets. And one thing that really made me think before that was, can I like carry on living my life like this? Sooner or later I might get into prison, because I had many friends, and I think 98% of them, nearly all of them, got chucked into prison. So when he got shot, it really, rang many bells inside my head, raised a big alarm. Because what really, was the icebreaker was, after he was killed, nobody done anything. Nobody done anything for that guy, for that brother who passed away. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to have mercy upon him. You can Google him as well. His name was Shamaki Hassan. nobody done anything to those people who, had or were behind the killing of this brother. So I started slowly moving away. Okay, slowly I started moving away. And for a very long time, my parents were saying to me that they wanted me to move to another city. And what was in mind at the time was to go move to Leicester, because the environment is, much better than the one in here in London. And subhanAllah, just, coming to this area here in South London, Brixton, looking at these blocks, it brought me back a lot of memories. And, I was gonna start getting a bit emotional inside as well, as to some of the things that I used to do, and it's from the blessings of Allah that He took me out of this situation. Just looking at these blocks, because these were the kind of blocks that, that a lot of mischief used to take place, just hanging around in the corridors for hours and wasting time. So what happened was, I went to Umrah, subhanAllah, just seeing the Kaaba. And I've always had that kind of relation, because my parents, they kind of nurtured us on the importance of Mecca and Medina. As soon as I saw the Kaaba, it was like a feeling that I never felt before, And I remember as well, when I was leaving Saudi Arabia, Mecca, after I done my final tawaf, I wanted to kind of like sneak away from my parents and just remain there, because I became so attached to the Kaaba after seeing it. And I always had the intention to kind of like, come back, and it was like the beginning as to why I basically just, changed my life around. I saw the Kaaba and I kept on looking back, and I asked Allah Azza wa Jalla not to make this the last time, to make this the last time that I see the Kaaba. So this really touched my heart, and sometimes changing surroundings that you're in, it really touches a person, and it gets to him as well.
أقيموا صفوفكم واعتدلوا. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
سمع الله لمن حمده.
ربنا ولك الحمد.
الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
الله
الله أكبر
الله أكبر.
So when I went back, we moved to Leicester, we settled there, and I was going to school there, finished secondary school, then I went into college, and this is when it all started. I was memorizing the Quran. I had always that attachment to the Quran, even though there was always, shortcomings that we had. Something that I really was attached to was the Quran. One statement that made me leave the country, and this was something that really hit my heart, it's like someone threw a dagger in my heart, was when my teacher said to me that, you Muhammad, you're never going to finish the Quran. Because I was going to secondary school, and I still had a lot of time for my Quran. But once I entered into college, I was a person who was very good at sports. I was very good at sports, I was very good at football, I was good at basketball as well. I remember I was in the C team, then I got, promoted to the B team, and on my debut I scored like 2 goals for the B team. This was after I totally destroyed the B team when I was playing for the C team, a friendly match that we had, just tore them apart. So I got promoted. Even on my debut I scored 2 goals, and I really thought I was going to make it because I had some trials for West Ham as well back in the day. I was very good at the basketball team, so I was like, playing basketball for them as well. I was good at table tennis as well, and so what happened was my teacher said to me, because I became so busy with these things, that you're never going to finish the Quran. So what happened was, I went home. That really affected me, it hit me hard, and I decided to just go out, learn Arabic, learn the Quran, and come back, and just carry on with university, and everything else was just history. Allah blessed me to go to a place called Damaj in Yemen, where I stayed in Yemen 4 years, 3 years in Damaj and 1 year in another place where there was some dodgy stuff going on, and war broke out. We had to come back. Another friend of mine was killed while he was still studying there. I had left for Hajj, to go perform Hajj. He was staying in my room. It's a place that was just, people used to come from around the world to study, but unfortunately now it has been totally destroyed by the Shiites. And there's another video, a interview that I had with Imran bin Mansour Dawaman, which I talk about my experience when I was living there and some of the things that took place. You might want to type into, find it on my channel. It's called Shia Tried to Kill Abu Taymiyyah for some things that took place over there, And when I came back here, I was blessed to, be accepted to go to Madeenah in 2014. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to go, even though from the moment I left the Maj, I always used to make dua that Allah accepts me in Madeenah. But when the opportunity came, I wasn't able to go. But as time went on, subhanAllah, things started changing, and I had another opportunity to go to Madeenah, and here I am. On being on the edges of the hellfire, doing all these crazy stuff, being caught up in absolute madness. Allah Azza wa Jal has chosen for me to be in the best place in the world, which is Madeenah, the Prophet's Masjid, to be able to study there and spend more time seeking knowledge. Knowledge is not just a few years, rather it's more than that. As Imam Ahmad, he mentioned, is all the way to your grave, from the cradle to the grave. So one thing I wanted to say, all these marks that I have on my head, all because of what stupid, meaningless stuff that we was up to. And nobody, when you do get chucked into prison because of some of the things that we might do, nobody's gonna come and do a new edition of Prison Break and try break you out. Okay, and once you leave this world, it's only you and your Lord. And and it's not worth it. It's not worth it. We can see so many stabbings taking place in London, in this area. Recently there was one around here, and when you really do look at it, many of them are just through worthless, meaningless stuff. And you get chucked into prison, you're always going to have CRB. That CRB check is just going to mess up your life. and I'm really grateful to Allah I wasn't chucked in there. And you know, I really want you lot to think about this. What are you fighting for? You know, and I'll just keep it at that, inshallah ta'ala. I'm not here to lecture you guys, not preach to you, tell you how to live your lives, but I just want you to, after listening to this video, to just like have this experience in the back of your minds. Was it really worth it? You know, and is it worth it what you're doing? You know, we ask Allah to benefit us from what we heard. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.